All right, I'm going to show you how I walk through solving word problems with third grade students. These problems are similar to the types that they will see on their retest or a test, anything like that. So the first one says, Carlina bought tickets for Busch Gardens and King's Dominion. She paid $370 for Busch Gardens tickets and $230 for King's Dominion tickets. What is the best estimate for the total amount she spent on tickets? So first off, in this question, in the question part of the statement, it says, what is the best estimate? So because of that, I know I'm going to make a best guess. And when I do that, I have to take these numbers in my problem and I need to round them first. Because both of these numbers, 370 and 230, both go up to the hundreds place, I'm going to round them to the nearest hundred. Also, I can see in my answer choices here, all of them go to the hundreds place, so that's a good clue as well. So I'm going to round 370 to the nearest hundred first. My 7 is going to tell the 3 in the hundreds place to move up to a 4. And then I'm going to round 230 to the nearest hundred. 3 is going to tell the 2 to stay the same. So that rounds to 200. So my question also says, what is the best estimate for the total amount she spent on tickets? And because we're just dealing with two numbers in this problem, I can tell that I am going to need to add. So I will add those. 0 plus 0, we always start in the ones place, is 0. 0 plus 0 is 0. And 4 plus 2 is 6. So my best estimate for this problem would be $600. And so then I would pick that problem. Okay. On number 2, this one has a chart, and this chart gives us 4 different days and 4 different sets of numbers. And it shows the distance that Miss Lee drove each day during her vacation. And so then my question is here under the chart, and it says, how many more miles did Miss Lee drive on Tuesday than on Sunday? So I only need 2 pieces of information from this chart. I don't need the rest of it. I need Tuesday, which is 267, and Sunday, which is 132. When I see a question that says how many more miles, I can tell that I will be comparing numbers. And I've tried teaching students that when we compare numbers, we're finding the difference between them. And difference in math means we're going to subtract. When subtracting, we are going to start in the ones place here. And I'm going to look at my 2 digits, and I'm going to decide which one's the bigger number. And I'm going to box it in. In this case, 7 is bigger than 2. So we have more on top, no need to stop. So we can solve. 7 minus 2 is 5. Moving to the next tens place, I have a 6 and a 3. Again, 6 is bigger than 3, so more on top, no need to stop. 6 minus 3 is 3. And then in my hundreds place, I have 2 minus 1, and 2 minus 1 is 1. So my answer would be 135 miles more. Okay. Looking at number 3. Number 3 says, Annabelle is reading a book with 257 pages. She read 66 pages on Saturday. She read 70 pages on Sunday. How many pages does Annabelle have left to read? Okay, so there are 3 numbers in this problem. So that is going to tell me that I have to do more than one step. Okay? When there's more than one step, I like to start from the beginning and see what it says because it's going to be more about comprehending what I read. Annabelle is reading a book with 257 pages, meaning if I have a book here, this whole book is 257 pages. Okay. And then it says she read 66 pages on Saturday, and she read 70 pages on Sunday. The question says, how many pages does Annabelle have left to read? So I can see that I am finding part of a whole. And when I have to find part of a whole, I have to subtract somewhere. This problem can be solved two different ways. We can solve it by just doing straight subtraction, or we can do some adding and then subtracting. If we're going to solve it just subtracting, we're going to take how many pages are in the whole book, and we're going to take away what she read first. So the first day she read 66 pages. I'm going to look in my ones place. I'm going to box the bigger number. I have more on top, so no need to stop. I can solve. 7 minus 6 is 1. Moving to the tens place, I have a 5 and I have a 6. 6 is bigger. So now I have more on the floor, so I have to go next door and get 10 more. So I'm going to go to the hundreds place, and I see that there are 2 hundreds here, and I'm going to borrow one of them, and I'm going to regroup it into my tens place. So 100 is worth the same as 10 tens. So 10 plus 5 is going to give me 15 tens here. So 15 minus 6, I can solve that now. 15 minus 6 is 9. Okay? And then I just have 1 minus 0 because nothing's there. So 191 pages after she read on Saturday. But then she read again on Sunday and read 70 pages, so I can subtract those out as well. 1 is bigger than 0, so I can solve. 1 minus 0 is 1. 9 is bigger than 7, so 9 minus 7 is 2. And then 1 minus 0 is 1. So 121 pages are left in her book. All right. If I wanted to do it with adding then subtracting, I would have added together the pages she read, the 66 and the 70, and then subtracted from the whole. Either way is fine. Okay? Either way works as long as we get to this answer. Let's see another type of problem. All right, let's look at this one here. Logan has 482 action figures in his collection. He sold 134 of his action figures, then he bought 97 more. What is the total number of action figures he has in his collection? This is a good problem. This problem is a little bit easier in my opinion because you can follow it straight through. So Logan had 482 figures in his collection. And then he sold 134 of them. So if he sold some, I know that he's going to have less of them at that point. So I can subtract. I have 2 and 4 in the ones place, so I need to box the 4. I have more on the floor, so I have to borrow to be able to solve here. I'm going to go to the tens place and take one of the 8 tens away, leaving 7 tens there. That 10 is worth the same as 10 ones, so 10 plus 2 is 12. And now I can solve. 12 minus 4 is 8. Moving to my tens place, I have a 7 and a 3. 7 is more, so more on top. No need to stop. 7 minus 3 is 4. And then moving to my hundreds place, I have a 4 and a 1, and 4 is bigger, so we can solve. 4 minus 1 is 3. So he had 348 action figures left after he sold the 134. But then he bought 97 more. So we're going to take how many he had after he sold some, And then we're going to take the amount he bought. And since he bought them, when we buy things, we're getting more of it, so we are going to add. Then we can solve. In the one space, I have 8 plus 7. 8 plus 7 is 15. I'm going to bring my 5 down and regroup the 1 from the 10 space because I can't put two digits in the same place value. Then I like to look at friendly numbers. 9 plus 1 is 10. And then 10 plus 4 is 14. Bring my 4 down, regroup the 1. And then 1 plus 3 is 4. So the total number of action figures he has now is 445 action figures. Okay. In number 6, I'm not going to solve all the way through, but when you look at this, we see that it has the first half of the game lasted for 175 minutes. The second lasted 85 minutes. We have another best estimate. So for this, we would round the two numbers and then solve. Since all of my answer choices are in the hundreds place, we would round to the nearest 100. 85, we would underline the imaginary 0, and that 8 would tell it to become a 1, and everything else becomes a 0. So then we would find the difference, and difference means subtract. So we would do 200 minus 100 equals 100. Number 7. This is kind of one that sometimes they get tricked up on. Number 7 on this one says, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders at Walton are painting rocks to put in the new school garden. They painted 912 rocks. The 3rd graders painted 312, and the 4th graders painted 287 rocks. How many rocks did the 5th graders paint? This one's kind of like the book one where we had a number of pages and then we read some and then we read some more, except they're using different words. Altogether, the 3 grades painted 912 rocks. So the whole is 912. And it was 3 grades that painted it, so I'm going to break up my whole into 3 parts. The 3rd graders painted 312, and the 4th graders painted 287. The question is, how many did the 5th graders paint? This means I'm finding part of a whole. So again, to find our final answer, we're going to have to subtract. I can add these two numbers and then subtract that from 912, or I can just do straight subtraction. I'm going to do straight subtraction because I don't want to confuse myself. So I'm going to do 912 minus 312. I have 2 and 2. Numbers the same, 0's the game. So that becomes a 0. 1 and 1, again, that's 0. And then 9 minus 3 is 6. So then I'm going to take the 600 and I'm going to subtract out what the 4th graders painted. And now I'm subtracting across zeros here, so there's a trick to solve because I don't want to have to borrow all the way across. So I can subtract 1 from each of those numbers here, making this 599 and this 286, and I'm going to get the same answer without having to do any borrowing. So 9 minus 6 is 3, 9 minus 8 is 1, and 5 minus 2 is 3. So my answer is 313. That's how much the 5th graders painted. I am running out of time in the amount of time I have in this video, so let me see if I can explain one verbally really quick. On this one, it's just on number 8, it's just saying this is how many he sold altogether. He sold this on Saturday, he sold this on Sunday. It wants to know a total, so you would add. This one, last week he had this many amount of books. Now he has 476. How many did he add to his collection this week? This one, just because it says add, doesn't mean we're adding. We're moving from this number to this number, and it wants to know the difference between them. So we would subtract in this one. We would subtract. We would add here, subtract.